Hey guys, Kuzo here, back with another video, and in this video today we're going to be doing another splash page for Kimetsu no Yaiba. And this splash page is going to be a little different in the fact that I'm drawing it in a cheap sketchbook. I'm also going to be inking it with the G pen as well, so that's going to be in this video too, just like my other splash pages. But yeah, so when originally doing this, I was just planning on drawing Tanjiro and recording it to see if maybe I liked how it turned out. I was planning on inking it. And if it didn't really turn out how I liked, I probably wasn't going to turn it into a video. So that's what I was planning when I first started recording. I didn't have anything really in mind, but once I started going further with it, I started realizing what I could do with this page and wanted to add in more characters. So at this point I wasn't really sure if I was even going to use the video or not, because it was just in my sketchbook. I didn't know if I really wanted to finish it or not, and I didn't know how my G pen was really going to work for a full illustration in the sketchbook. As like I've said before, I really like smooth paper, and this sketchbook has kind of like a medium paper. It's not too rough and it's not too smooth. And so on a few other pages I had some anatomy that I'd been practicing that I decided to go over with my G pen to see how it kind of felt on the page. And it felt alright. It didn't feel as nice as doing it on some like smooth bristle board or smooth sketchbook paper, but it worked and I liked it, so that's when I decided to start doing this illustration. Reasons why I wanted to see if this would work out at all is because I don't know if I wanted to go big scale like for big bristle board paper for each and every one of my illustrations that I finish. Some of them I may just want to play around with and see if they work out, and I don't know if I want to do that with a bristle board piece of paper because, you know, they cost more, and if you just play around with it and you mess up too many times, you're going to be throwing away that bristle board paper. So I thought it would just be fun to play around with this sketchbook paper, and if this does start working out and it does feel really nice, I would do more in these sketchbooks that are, you know, just more laid back drawings. Of course, this drawing turned out to not be very laid back, and it turned out to be more one of my more heavy drawings because it actually has 4 characters in it. Even though it has 4 characters, it actually took less time to draw and ink than my other splash pages I did, and it's probably just simply because of the size, and the scale of it is about, I would say, about half the size as a bristle board paper, maybe 3/4 or 2/3 the size. I'm not sure. All I know is it definitely is a little smaller, and this sketchbook I'm using is also very cheap and it's very accessible. In case you guys are wondering, which I know some of you guys are definitely wondering what sketchbook it is, it's really just a sketchbook from Target, and it's actually a Target brand sketchbook. It's like $2.19 or $2.50, and it has quite a bit of pages in it, and the pages are, you know, pretty decent quality for the price actually. And one of the things I like about this sketchbook is it doesn't have a spiral spine, and its spine also isn't on the long side of the sketchbook, it's on the short side. So if you're drawing in landscape, it would be on your right or your left. If you're drawing in portrait, it would be on the top or bottom depending on how you're drawing on it. But, you know, if you're drawing on it normally, it would be on the top. I know I said it really weird just then, but that's because this whole sketchbook, while I've been using it in landscape mode instead of in portrait mode, so it opens up into this, I don't know, this really long landscape drawing, and it brings out this really nice paper ratio that I haven't really seen before, and it's just really nice to draw on and really nice to practice on. It's like drawing on a scroll or something like that you eventually just turn the page. Because a lot of the time I'll even draw past that spine part because it sits down flat on the table. Because it doesn't have a spiral spine, it turns into kind of like this one flat piece of paper going across your desk. Or at least that's what it feels like, and then it just has like a line in the middle because that's where the crease is. But I don't know, I'm explaining it like as if this is some majestic sketchbook, but it just turned out to be a very normal sketchbook for a very decent price and with some alright paper. But enough about the sketchbook itself, let's talk about the illustration. I've already talked through the whole sketching portion of this illustration, but in this one we have Tanjiro, Nezuko, Zenitsu, and Inosuke. And here's a little fun thing we can do. Guess who my favorite character is out of this whole lineup here. Guess who my favorite character is in the comment section below. Comment, and I'll say it at the end of the video. Don't cheat and go to the end of the video, okay? Comment who you think my favorite character is. Not who I like to draw the most, but out of the series, who I like the most. Of course, this is subject to change throughout the series, but yes, I do have a favorite character from this, and I'm looking forward to the comments seeing who you think my favorite character is. But yeah, like in the beginning, I was saying that I wasn't planning on doing this full illustration, but once I was done with Tanjiro, I had an idea that I was like, you know, I'm going to draw Nezuko, and then once I drew her, I was looking at the illustration and I was thinking, maybe I could put some like cloud effects to kind of block them in and give it this composition feel. But then I was like, you know what, maybe I should just add the other characters. It's not going to be that hard to ink and like draw out in ink. And so I actually decided to put Inosuke up at the top there because I was like, this is totally going to fit so well with this boar head kind of just being like right up there at the top, slightly near the center, and then put Zenitsu down on the left hand side, kind of squished in there. And don't worry guys, for those of you who are fans of Inosuke and Zenitsu, I will definitely be doing solo illustrations of them. If not just solo illustrations, I'll be pairing them up with someone else, so they'll be a little bit bigger and they'll have a bigger focus in the illustration as well. Yeah, so that was pretty much the birth of this illustration that I didn't plan on, but that's what I liked about doing this kind of illustration. Was I went into it knowing that maybe it wouldn't go anywhere, and if it didn't, so what, it's in my sketchbook page, but it did, and I like that. I like that kind of lenience for some of the illustrations that I can just let loose and just go on my way. That definitely doesn't mean I'm gonna stop drawing on the bristleboard paper. I love the feeling of the G pen on that paper much more than this paper. This paper kind of bunches up on the tip a little bit if I'm drawing on a specific way, so it's a little strange. As well as if I ink in a certain way, sometimes it feathers out on the paper, it gets caught on it in a specific way, and that's also weird too, because then it like bleeds into the paper too. And by the way, this completely ruins the paper on the other side of my sketchbook, which I'm going to learn from that and maybe put another piece of paper underneath it and behind it, but that seems like a hassle to do for each illustration. I don't know, but maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it. I can at least save the paper on the other side, but at the same time I didn't really mind if the paper on the other side has like black spots on it and I just use it for a practice page, because the spots on it aren't really gonna matter when I'm just practicing some anatomy and stuff. But I don't know, I'm probably gonna put paper underneath it. Just realized when looking at this illustration and thinking back on the other ones I've done with this G pen, I'm probably gonna be doing a lot of these traditionally inked illustrations with this G pen, and I'm probably gonna run out of ink pretty fast. Even though I have quite a bit, if I'm doing these many illustrations, probably gonna run out pretty fast, which kind of sucks. But you know, I don't even think the big bottle of ink even costs that much. I think it's like $15, and it's gonna last you months upon months. And the one I have is about halfway full, and with doing a bunch of illustrations, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'll let you guys know how long it lasts. So one thing about this illustration when I was inking was I decided I wanted to be a little looser with the lines. I wanted to kind of just let go and let my hand do whatever, and I was trying to be a little less strict with how I was inking, just to play around, and it was pretty fun. And I was afraid I was gonna mess up on some parts, but I didn't, and I'm happy for that. But I mean, I did have a few mess ups, but it was nothing too crazy, like some sort of line across the face or like some really bad eye. You could argue Inosuke's eyes are a little strange, but that's just part of his design. So we're in the blackout portion of this illustration now, and when I start using the brush pen, the brush pen definitely doesn't lay down as smoothly as it does on the bristleboard paper, because like I said, this paper is a little rougher, and what happens when I actually use the brush pen on it, it absorbs the ink a lot more, and it also leaves gaps in the paper, because if I stroke too fast, Stroke too fast, it leaves gaps in the ink because it's just too coarse. So that was a little frustrating when inking. So it made me had to fill in the blacks a little slower than I normally would, but also made the blacks look a lot darker than they normally would too, which in return means I'm running out of ink more in the pen. Thank you, paper. Thank you. But all in all, after I started doing the blackouts with Tanjiro here, I started getting used to how I was supposed to ink with this brush pen on this sort of paper, and from there it went pretty smoothly. One thing you'll notice throughout these illustrations that I do on this kind of paper and this size of paper, you'll notice that my lines seem a little thicker, and that's also because the page size is just a lot smaller. And so the G pen can only go so small, so my lines are always going to look a little thicker on this paper. I don't know, maybe I'll try to go a little bit lighter with my pen on the next illustration in this sketchbook and see if I can do that and make the ink lines even thinner, so that way it looks like a bigger illustration and I can get a lot more detail in there. Also, I do have another sketchbook that I bought after buying this one. So I bought it thinking that it was going to be around the same aspect ratio as this and somewhat the same size as this, and it turned out to be a crap ton smaller, and it turned out to be not the same ratio and more of a square. And then the paper is like super smooth, which is, it's so smooth that it's kind of uncomfortable. I really like smooth paper, but I feel like it's a little too smooth, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but I don't know, it has this weird smoothness to it, and I think it's because of how smooth it is mixed with how thick the paper is, makes it feel even smoother than it should be, because when the paper is thinner and it's on other sketchbook pages that are thinner, it has this give to it. It gives this somewhat buttery feeling, and I don't know, that sketchbook is definitely strange. I might use it for one of these someday, but it's even smaller than this sketchbook, so it's kind of like turning this sketchbook into a square, pretty much. So it's like lobbing off the top of it. Yeah, I might use that at some point in the video. We'll see. But in any case, if you guys want to help support my artists, help support what I do on this channel, you guys can check me out on my Patreon, link in the description. But I'd like to take this time to thank my current patrons. You guys are the best pensionobis there are and help me be able to do what I do on this channel. And I'd like to give a special thanks to my Chunin and Jonin tier Patreons: Satoshi, Alpha Dog Studios, Benjamin T, Jeffrey Riddle, Yulia Namikaze, Wear My Crown, Daniel Hillier, Maricuzio, JT, Aaron McQuiston, Slow Days, Aaliyah Williams, Ryan, Johnny Boy Draws, Liquor, Weeb Ninja, Leo McIntyre, Joe, Daniel Hutchinson, Urgin, David DeBoer, Jaden Syria, Fabsy, Lost Illustrator, and Paul Hrubeck. And once again, big thanks to each and every one of my Patreons. You guys are awesome. But in any case, if you guys like this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new to this channel, like you see, please subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notified when each video comes out. And like always guys, I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.